The Christmas story begins in darkness. There was a darkness of oppression. For these were a people who had been conquered by the empire. They were beaten, they were defeated, they were persecuted. There was the darkness of disillusionment. There were an ever-increasing number among them who felt that violence, not peace, was the most effective path. On that first Christmas, the mood was one of despair and resignation, and Herod bore down on the Christ child. And thus it was then, and thus it is now. Herods are all around us in this season. There are wars and there are rumors of wars, terror and rumors of terror, hunger, loneliness, and a sense of emptiness. The poet Robert Frost once wrote, "I have been acquainted with the night. I have walked in the rain. I have walked out of the rain. I have been acquainted with the night." You, I suspect, each one of you have been acquainted with the night in one form or another. And thus we do not come here this evening naively denying the existence of the shadows that fall over us. Nowhere in our faith stories do we receive a pep talk and an argument that things are not as bad as they seem. Rather, they affirm that life's difficulties are real and they are present. However, our faith story affirms that there is a light ahead. The prophet Isaiah wrote, "The people who walk in darkness have seen a great light." John's gospel records, "The light shines in the darkness, and the darkness has not overcome it." Thus we come together to sing again the words, "Yet in the dark street shineth the everlasting light." And part of the good news, I think, of Christmas is that in the midst of a deep gloom and uncertainty in the world, when fears were easily grown in dim places, there came a light that could not be overcome. It wasn't a temporary flicker, but it was something everlasting. And so we find ourselves needing to come together in places like this on our own roads to Bethlehem to hear that. There are times, both in the events of the world and in our own lives, when we feel that something important might be taken away from us. And nevertheless, the Christmas story affirms that whatever happens, the light still shines. And so we come to raise our own light against the darkness and recall the story from Luke that brought us here. There is the stable, there is Joseph and Mary on either side of a manger with light raised against their faces in wonder. And in that manger lies the baby, the reminder that hope and peace and joy and love are ready to be born again in him tonight, and that maybe, just maybe this year, we might follow his path to bring about a more equitable and sustainable and just world, the kingdom of God of which he would grow to speak. And there too, close by, are the shepherds right here in front of me. Those shepherds having staggered haphazard in starlight after hearing the angel voice saying, "Fear not, fear not." And we wonder with them and try to remember, to have the presence of mind to remember that angel's words as gospel that they are. Fear not. And because we're people who need to collect the whole set, even the Magi, just because they know we need them, speed up their journey once again tonight and arrive 12 days early and from another gospel. And they're over here coming towards us and tell us that they recognize the presence of the truly authentic, and they remind us to do the same. And so we need to hear the story again, as some among us struggle perhaps with unemployment or underemployment or illness or loneliness or alienation. We need to hear about a light coming for us in the darkness of midwinter in a season of terror. And perhaps some of us come to hear the familiar carols and bask in the glow of candlelight together and be reminded once more that your life has meaning, that our lives have meaning, that each of us has the courage that we need already within us to face whatever is next, and that we will live to see truth win out over falsehood, even with all of the Herods that are around us again this season. And especially, I think, to hear that you are a loved child of God and you are never alone, even if you were to blow out your candle tonight and return to an empty home. You are not alone in the power and presence of the message of this night. The darkness is real. It's very real. But on this Christmas Eve, we're reminded of the life of one who came to bring light and love into a world filled with despair. And because of Christmas, I think we feel a special familiar glow. And so as you walk out into this evening, notice that the darkness does not intrude upon the light. It's on the contrary, it is the light. It is the light that intrudes upon the darkness. Light is always greater, and the forces of light are stronger than the armies of despair. The greatest need in a confused world this day is to let people know that there is hope, that life is worth living no matter what. We should not be discouraged to the point of despair. And in Jesus' birth, we retain the hope that life overcomes death, that love conquers hate, and that truth will always prevail. Mahatma Gandhi said, "When I despair, I remember that all throughout history, the way of love has always won. There have been tyrants and murderers, and for a time they can seem invincible, but in the end, they always fail." Think of it, he said, always. And there's a strong metaphor in this story of the star that guides the wise men to Bethlehem. It is an eternal reminder to us that in a sea of darkness, it is the light that keeps us going forward. It is the light and the hope and the way of Christ that dispels the gloom. We, all of us, travel haphazardly into starlight with magi and shepherds tonight, following the light of Christmas into our own pathway into Bethlehem. Travel with that light. And so now walk softly as you go through Christmas, that each step may bring you down the starlit path to the manger bed. Talk quietly as you speak of Christmas, that you shall not drown out the glorious songs of angels with idle talk. Kneel reverently as you pause for Christmas, that you may feel again the spirit of the Nativity rekindled in your soul. Rise eagerly after you have trod the Christmas path, that you may serve more fully the one whose birth we hail.